Thanks, Avni, for that question. That was Avni. Thank you for that question about supervision. We were just discussing about it this morning.
Okay. Yeah.
You literally stole the words out of my mouth. That was
so you were exploring that with some friends or some colleagues?
Yeah, some peer coach in Mumbai and Bangalore. So yeah.
Yeah, there is quite a lot of blend, and I think coaching supervision, in my feeling, from what I understand, is more about coaching the coach. Right? To understand who the coach is being, what are the blocks of the coach, if a coach is judging or assuming, why is that, if their ego is coming in, why is that, if they're rushing to solutions, why is that, and kind of coaching the coach behind the scenes.
Right.
And in a way, that's not that different after all to, the core competencies, Yeah, we're just having a chat. Thais.
Hi, Jedi.
Continuing from the previous chat.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to meet you.
What this space is meant to be. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. Jedida, hello.
Hi. Finally, we get to meet.
Hi. Finally, we get to meet too, Jedi.
Tony, I'm only seeing you.
Hi, Jedi. First time I'm meeting you also properly,
Yes, it's the first time we connected on LinkedIn and we connected on emails and stuff, but really glad to finally get to see all of us.
Yes.
And it's an honor and privilege to be here as well. We just ended the session just like 1 minute ago and I just hop over to this one.
Yeah. Jedi, by the way, it looks like you're looking there.
Yes, I'm looking there because you guys on this screen,
nice.
My camera is
nice.
so.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, okay, great.
So if I'm looking there, it's because I'm looking at your face.
Where the presentation is. I think the presentation is here.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon I can get a bigger screen where I can see all of you here because now you're spread across here and you're spread across there. So my mind will be going like this. Yeah. Okay.
So, just wait for a few seconds for our friends to come and then we shall get started.
Okay, sure.
And very soon, all eyes will be on you, Jedi. So in the sense that you won't have to look everywhere. It'll just be in the front.
Yeah, it'll be very nice. Well, we're open. This will be a more interactive session, and I just encourage anyone, if you have any questions, or since you are early, some of you are early, the topic for today, it's about how leaders can utilize the requisite power of team coaching. If you have any questions already on your mind, you can just post the questions here in the chat box below here somewhere. Yeah, right. If you're using a phone, you need to swipe. If you're using your laptop, you just type it down. And so we can engage with you. So during the presentation itself, during the engagement presentation, feel free to post any questions that you have. And we'll have segments as well for you to ask questions. Yeah.
So that's a great invitation. So we won't miss that out. So talking about myself, so I do it. Yeah, so I think let's get started to fully use our time. So I'll start. By the way, this is the first time I meet with Jedi. We've exchanged through email, through so we exchanged through many so WhatsApp and emails, and I think that it's a great opportunity for me personally to know Jedi. Let me first welcome everyone here again after really a long marathon. So it's the third session, and all the sessions were dynamic, interactive, and I can guess that still we want to learn more, to acquire more, and this is really another opportunity for us to first get to know Jedi and exchange with him live and ask him questions as he kindly suggested. And let me start by introducing Jedi. So I don't know where to start from introducing Jedi. Really great things. So for those who do not know Jedi yet, Jedi is a C-suite executive and team leadership coach for the next generation, featured as in Forbes Coach Council, recipient of the 101 Most Fabulous Global Coaching Leaders Award, World HDR Congress 2020. He's a master certified coach and lead faculty assessor for ICF approved programs, many ICF approved programs. And the best of everything, his mission is to coach and empower a million people over the next year. Wow, what an ambitious goal, Jedi.
Yeah. And I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with you as well, and with all our friends here and coaches around the world. Yeah.
Great. So Jedi gonna be talking about coaching for engagement and happiness. So let me ask you first, why exactly that topic? So what made you choose that topic? And please, answering that question, keep carrying on with your presentation. The floor is yours.
Okay, that's great. So, well, this topic, actually, it's a really pertinent topic, especially in this generation and in this season of time. One of the big challenges many companies are facing around the world with this pandemic that's happening, it's the increase of engagement that they need with employees. Because what's happening globally, it's that many companies are experiencing a lot of downsizing, retrenchment, downsizing, and a lot of companies experiencing industry collapse. And what then happens and what that translates is that employees now are struggling even much more than they were before this pandemic. So what does this mean for a lot of employees today in their organizations? It means a few things. When they look around left and right, they're just wondering, am I the next to be out of this company? Am I the next to be retrenched? And should I be planning for the next steps forward? How should I move about in this whole process? What should I do? And so really about employee engagement is even more pertinent today than ever before. And there's some power, I would say the requisite power or the inherent power in team coaching to really inspire the teams or the employees today in the workspace. And recently we read the newspaper of a lot of organizations are downsizing and they're cutting the staff by the hundreds or the thousands. And this is quite worrying for many people, not just the people that's being retrenched, but the individuals or the team members who are in the organization itself, because this also means that the organization's teams or the employees now have to take on more roles than ever before. So they have to work with less manpower and they have to do much more. So now, and a single employee may have to take on 4 or 5 portfolios than in compared to the past when they're just focusing on one task. Now they have to be more nimble, they're more versatile. So this means that as an employee, now you're faced with more challenges than ever before. And that became a really a big topic. So because I've spoken to many of the HR directors and regional partners, traditionally, many of the HR business partners or HR directors, they travel around the region to engage with different staff. But today, because of the flight grounding, they're not able to travel as much as they could. And now they have to retrench people from across the different regions as well. And retrenching people, it's often one of the toughest jobs any HR professional needs to go through, because they're meeting the person. It's easy to say, okay, let's cut 6,000 people here to save X amount of dollars. But when you need to deliver that news to the person, that man, that woman who is delivering the money back home or supporting the family, now we got to consider for their livelihoods as well. So engagement, it's even more important in this new normal.
Great, that's really interesting. So I leave you the floor to expand with your presentation. So you take the lead, Jedi.
Okay, thanks. Is it possible if you allow me to screen share?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. And it's really an honor and privilege to be a part of this session and as part of this conference as well. So what we're going to do in this session, I'm going to make it a little bit more interactive. So if you have any questions during this whole process of the presentations, do feel free to post them in the chat box below, or you can always raise your hands by clicking on the button here in the Zoom section. Or if you have any comments, just press the reaction button here and just say, hey, I got a question. And we will pause right there, address some of the questions they may have, and we continue. So we're going to keep it very lively with maybe more questions and two-way direction. And hopefully this whole process will really help you to get clarity about the topic at hand. Okay, good. So are we ready for this? I'm so excited for this topic. I love engaging with a lot of coaches around the world and HR professionals, because I truly believe that one of the best people to work with in organizations are the HR, human resources. And today, traditionally in the workspace, HR professionals are the least recognized people. In the board of directors meeting, oftentimes the CFOs will be called in, the CIOs, the COOs, the CEOs will be called in, but the CHROs or the chief human resource officers will always be the last people to be in. But today, increasingly, they have more prominence in the leadership space. They're increasingly having more prominence in the space of decision making. Why so? Because today, one of the key assets in the organization, it's manpower. And that's the tough thing. It takes so much effort to raise and train and sustain a particular manpower, but it's so easy for them to jump to another different department. So if employers are able to engage their staff today even much more, it's cost savings, as well as now they're able to then allow a sense of commitment and ownership for these employees in the organization. So today we're going to look at this topic here, which if you have read a little synopsis of it, would be here, how leaders can utilize the requisite power of team coaching for employee engagement and happiness in turbulent times. And this time that we're facing as well, it's a turbulent time, so it's a very apt topic to work on. So I encourage you, if you have any questions, do feel free to pop there as we're going through this presentation. Okay, so a little bit about, so Kaz have actually shared a little bit about myself, and well, I found Coaching Changes Life. Coaching Changes Life is my company here that's based in Singapore, and we run programs around the world, and also we help support leaders and corporate HR directors to really be their learning partner, to really support them in their growth process. Okay, so what we look at today, a little bit less about me, but more about you. How does this impact you as a professional? How does it impact you in your business? So we're going to look at a few components here. Okay, first, today, employees are becoming less engaged in the workspace. Why? Because there's so much things that's coming against them. So traditionally, when they sign up for a particular job, they are only faced with a particular role. But today, they have to take on more roles than they sign up for. And they're looking around to see that their friends are being retrenched, and an added workload, increased stress, and they feel that they are being micromanaged in these turbulent times, adds a lot more pressure on them. And furthermore, they're also thinking about the next steps. Should they be the next one to lose their jobs? So what does this mean for an organization today? Well, organizations now are stuck with employees who might be considering changing jobs. So which means that now employers need to rethink their strategies of engagement. Traditionally, when we think about engagement and engaging employees, is about giving them more benefits, giving them pay rise, giving them maybe having a celebration meal, having team building events, having some learning events. But now organizations need to do more than just that. It's no longer just the work at hand, but it's also helping the employees to deal with life matters. So traditionally, when we hear this notion of work-life balance, it's no longer work-life balance anymore. Now think about this. How many of you believe there's such a thing as work-life balance? Let's have a raise of hands. How many of you think there's such a thing as work-life balance? You can give a thumbs up, or you can give a clap if you think there's such a thing as work-life balance, right? How many of you disagree there's such a thing as work-life balance? You can put a comment below and say, no, I don't agree there's such a thing as work-life balance. Okay, good. Now, what if I tell you today that the notion of work-life balance is a false premise? It's a false dichotomy. Because if we think about this, to say that there's work-life balance, we're saying that work and life are separate. Because to balance something means that something is out of balance. And if we say that, then we're actually having the premise of, hey, that means work and life are separate. They're not. And today we talk about work-life integration, work-life harmony. All of these words actually have a presupposition. And the presupposition is that work and life are separate. The reality is this: work and life are not separate. Work and life are one. When we go to the office space, we bring our life issues to the office space. So think about this: when, can you imagine if you're a parent and you have a little child? So your little child was late for school today, and you're rushing him to school. And when you get to office, your boss scolds you for being late. And then you go back home and you scold your children. You see, it's your fault that it caused me to be late. Tomorrow, don't be late anymore. So this cycle of work and life, they're not separate. They're actually one. So today, what we tell HR people and what we tell coaches around the world is that we need to stop seeing work and life as separate issues. We need to start seeing how work and life as one. The truth is this: if we can help our employees better manage their life, having less stress to think about their family, having less stress to think about what to do in terms of job security, they have more energy to focus on the work at hand. The reason many employees today are so disengaged in the workspace is because they're thinking about their families at home. They're thinking about, oh, what if I lose my job today? Will I how do I secure my next job? They're thinking about so many things about life that is not allowing them to focus on being productive in the workspace. So it sounds counterintuitive to spend effort and time to develop the individual's life areas, but actually it also impacts the company. Think about Google, right? Google actually dedicated a percentage of time for the employees to actually go out of Google to do their pet projects. But many companies today, they have a very fixed system. From 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., you have to be in a workspace. But the traditional notion of fixed timing doesn't work anymore. Today, with this pandemic and many people staying at home, people are working longer hours. And many employees are even more disgruntled because people are saying, hey, I thought working virtual means we have less hours to work, but now it seems as if we are actually spending more time working because my boss is calling me in the middle of the night. On Saturdays, I got to reply my mail on Sundays, but yet in exchange, I'm getting this flexibility at work, at home, which means I can spend time with my loved ones. I can wake up late, but how do I actually manage this messiness of life and work? How do I do that? So this notion of work-life, now we got to rethink how we actually fundamentally think about that. And especially as coaches, as HR professionals, as leaders, how do we help our employees, our leaders, organizations rethink about the notion of work and life? Because that will be a prerequisite to help the clients through happiness and finding some sense of satisfaction in the workspace. Okay, so let's see this. Why is this important today? Because employee engagement is correlated to productivity, but there's much, much more than this. I would like to read from you a very interesting article by Gallup's organization. It says this: there's a report of 22% higher productivity level when your employees are highly engaged. So if your employees are engaged, there'll be 22% higher productivity level. And this was done by a survey of 1.4 million employees. And it goes on to share that actually it's not just more productivity, but it's also something else that happens. For instance, highly engaged organizations have double the rate of success of lower engaged organizations. And comparing the top quartile of companies to the bottom quartile of companies, the engagement factors becomes very noticeable. For example, the top quarter of firms that have low absenteeism and turnover, and specifically for higher turnover organizations, they have 25% lower turnover, and lower turnover organizations have 65% lower turnover. So it goes to show that actually engagement also not just improves productivity, it also improves the quality of work and health for the organizations in totality. So when we look at this, we begin to realize, hey, there's so much more benefits of employee engagement than what we see on the surface. On the surface, yes, productivity correlates, but there's something more, which is vitality and health, which is also retention. So we thought that engagement cannot produce anything, but actually engagement also produces retention. Now, when we consider this, some of the things that we want to think about is why so? Why do these things happen? What are people really thinking about? Well, there's some things of basic needs. The basic needs are this. The basic needs for any employee is to think about the safety, stability, and security. These three as really critical. Safety in terms of where they are, whether do they feel safe in the workspace? Do they feel safe in the environment they're working in? Do they feel safe that their jobs are secured? Stability, do they find that, hey, I can go to work tomorrow and not needing to be afraid that I'll be issued a warning letter or issued a letter of termination? Security, a sense of stability of income sources of revenue that comes in to pay their monthly bills. If these basic needs are fulfilled, we will see an increase in engagement, because when we can take these things aside, now the employees don't have to worry about the safety, the stability and security for themselves and their family. When that's taken care of, now all that's left is for them to begin to work on other issues of work that deals with productivity, other issues of work that deals with performance level. So one of the questions that we ask next, it's this notion of what's next? What's next for this employee? Knowing these are the basic needs, how do we do this? How do we go about this? How do we navigate through this messiness of things? Well, for one, let's take a look at where we are currently in our environment factors. So with this pandemic and employee experience, one of the things that we want to see is what we call leadership. Leadership, it's actually demonstrated when there's crisis. When everything's going well, there isn't much for you to lead. But leaders are tested in times when there are crises. Leaders are tested when there are times when are not going well. In turbulent times, that's when leadership is most evident. In turbulent times, that's when coaches are most required. Why so? Because in these turbulent times, why coaching is even more prevalent today than ever before is because many organizations now need someone who can think different, someone who can facilitate a process, someone who can facilitate a session, who is neutral, who can bring about new ideas, new concepts, new ways of thinking, evoke awareness in the teams, and facilitate a process for them to learn and grow. So it's an opportunity to rethink and utilize the requisite power of team coaching and to lead and flow through the new normal. So what I usually say to all my clients is this, that engagement precedes retention. If you want to retain your talents, you need to increase your engagement. In times uncertain, the team looks towards the leaders for direction and certainty about the way ahead. And even in the midst of perilous times, the team becomes the support to carry everyone through. So where does the role of the coach comes in? The role of the coach comes in to facilitate the process between the leaders and the teams, and more so in the team coaching process, because leaders are now tasked with so many different tasks that sometimes it's hard for them to really draw the teams together. Sometimes it's hard for them to actually facilitate the process to help the team see the things better. So coaches are brought in to bring the new game-changing element. And that's what we call the requisite power of team coaching. I'm going to share with you how that works. But before we do that, I'm going to share with you a little secret about how you can consider what coaching can really do for teams. And to do that, we're going to share with you a framework of coaching and why coaching really works. Now, I know some of us who are here tuning in today's session, some of us are professional coaches, some of us may be leaders in organizations, some of us are HR professionals, some of us may be going through, may have experienced coaching yourself. But to help us all understand what coaching can really do for us, let's take a look at this model, what we call the coach framework. The coach framework will help you understand clearly exactly why the role of a coach is so important in the organizations today than ever before, right? If anything organizations needs today, they need to engage coaches to get on board them. And that's the role of coaches, all of us here as a team. Why is it so important for organizations to engage us? It's because of this coach process. Now, C stands for connection. One of the prerequisites for engagement is you need to create connection with your clients, with your teams. The reason many teams today seems almost separated is because they don't feel connected anymore to the organization's values. They feel like they're like a one-man team. And even more so because today, with the lockdowns, with the work from home, with the alternate scheduling systems, many people don't feel that they're working together as a team. And this notion of virtual teams also is beginning to impact the way we are dealing with the work, the way we're interacting with people, and the way we're connecting with lives. So the first C is going to be very important in the coaching process, is to allow the connection for the teams and the leaders, to build rapport and trust with the clients. And in doing so, to cultivate a sense of trust and safety and a sense of agreements between the parties at hand. O stands for outcome. At the end of the day, the role of a coach in the process is to help the teams to create the outcome that they desire, to move them towards an outcome, to create the goals and desires that's necessary for the clients, the visions for them to actualize things. One of the things that many companies love to do, they love to visualize. But where the coach comes in is this, to facilitate the visualization, to actualization, to realization of all their dreams and visions. So in that process, what the coach does, it facilitates clients' growth and learnings. A stands for awareness. One of the big things in the process as well is to give the clients a sense of awareness of themselves and how they can achieve goals. And one of the important process in this is that it's not just about creating awareness for the coach or for the leader, but it's create awareness for the teams, every single individual that's there, for them to create a deeper sense of awareness for themselves. C, it's communicate. Now, communication is one of the highly misunderstood topics around the world. Teams and organizations have said that, okay, let's send our staff for effective communication. Let's send our staff for a soft skill training on communication. But communication, it's more than just talking. It also involves the ability for you to listen attentively to another person. It's also the ability for you to hearken your ears, to listen deeply what is said and what is not said. And finally, one of the most important things is being present in the moment with the client. And in that moment where presence is, that's where the flow state happens. Now, one of the big things in the coaching process, it's this notion of flow. How do we get into the process of flow? When we're in the process of flow, we then are able to help the client to move through the process and help them to see, hey, actually, there is a flow in this pathway. Help them move that and meander through this whole journey. And that deals with the ability for you to present your coaching presence and having a coaching mindset. So now, taking a look at this coach framework, now let's take a look at how the team coaching is applied in this process so that we can understand the requisite power that underlies in team coaching that can be applied in employee engagement to produce the results of happiness and productivity for the organization. So let's take a look at what this really translates to in the team coaching process. Okay, so in the team coaching process, what really happens is this. Team coaching, let me give you a few definitions of team coaching. One by Dr. Peter Hawkins. He says this: the purpose of team coaching is to enable a team to co-create greater beneficial value with and for all their stakeholders. It is the purpose that creates the team. Another person, his name is David Clutterbuck, and says this: team coaching helps teams review performance, boost results, improve communication, and build rapport. It harnesses a combination of intelligence and curiosity to help teams think through what they are doing and why, how they will integrate individual skill sets, and how they will innovate. It also helps the team to ask questions that will stimulate the intellectual dialogue necessary for addressing performance issues effectively. Now, having worked with teams myself, with different cultures around the world, one of the things I notice about team coaching is this: when I apply team coaching, I find that team coaching isn't leader focused. It's not about the leader, it's about the team. It's about how the leader can draw out the best in every single person and to move the team forward through the rough seas. It's about helping the leader to see, hey, can I draw out from this individual here? This person may be quiet in the team, but they may have new ideas, they may have new innovations. So the team coaching, it's really a co-creative approach to increase engagement and commitment by allowing each person to take ownership of their efforts and their own ideas and allow for deeper levels of innovation and leadership. So when we look at across all this, now what team coaching really does, it's that it goes deeper than just the surface of just addressing individual issues, but helping to see as a team, how do we move forward? How do we go together? How do we draw from each other? How do we draw the strengths from every single person? How do we find synchronity in everyone's strength to produce something in a more efficacious way? So that's team coaching. Okay. Now, many people have asked me, say, hey, Jedi, is there a difference between group and team? When we think about team, is there a difference between a team and a group? Or are groups and teams the same? Well, what is interesting is this: groups and teams are not the same. When we think of a group, groups are people who come together with a common interest, but may not necessarily have the same goal in mind. Whereas, so when we think about group coaching, it's application of coaching principles to a small group for the purpose of personal or professional development to achieve a goals. They may not have a common set of lines, may not have a common team. Whereas a team is a small group of people with complementary skills that are committed to support a common purpose, performance goals, approach for which they are mutually accountable. So a team has what we call mutual accountability, because you're not running the race by yourself, you're running the race together as a team. Whereas a group, you may have common interests, but a team is different. Okay, so let's think about this. When is a group a team? Is that even possible? When is a group a team? Or would they ever be a team at all? Okay, so let's open the floor now. Let's have a little discussion here. When is a group a team? When is a group a team? Anyone would like to share your thoughts?
There's a unified purpose.
When there's a unified purpose, okay. So Muhammad says when there's synergy, when they act as one, when they have common goal and there's unity, a shared vision, sharing of some goals. Okay, great. Anyone else? When they are working in collaboration with one another, a sharing of values.
I think when a group have unity of purpose, it's likely being considered as a team when there is a unity of purpose for what is intended to achieve.
When there's a unity of purpose, and that's when the group becomes a team.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good answer. And we're seeing some others as well. Say a team has a common organizational goal. Pradeep says a group is a team when there is a unified goal, collaboration, and working towards the same purpose. And Mohammed Wasim says sharing of the same goal in a company. And Jacob says when a group acknowledges that they want to be a team. Really interesting. And thank you so much for joining this. And oh, this is really interesting. When they are a system. This notion of a system, it's really critical. Many times when we think about organizations, we think of them as like a living being, but it's more than a living being. It's a system, an organization system. And sharing same purpose and some strategies. Duha says the team is working towards for a common case, but a group may be working together on specific project. Love the answers. I love all your contributions. And that's something for us to consider. Now, because in the organizations, sometimes you may be encountering groups, sometimes you'll be encountering teams. And how do we help organizations now to see beyond groups to teams? Because there's something different between a team and a group. And there's some hidden power behind the team as well. And supporters are a group. Oh, very nice. I love this one. Supporters are a group, players are a team. It reminds me of a soccer team, right? Players are a team. As a soccer team, no man is the best man. Every single person supports each other. Whether you're midfielder, you're striker, you're defender, you're the goalkeeper, you're part of the team. A positive atmosphere over there. Really nice. I love all your sharings here. Now, I'm going to share with you something really interesting here as well for us to consider. Okay, and hopefully this inspires you and this gives you some new ways of thinking about things. One is that teams can be groups, but not all groups can be teams. Teams can be groups, but not all groups can be teams. Why do we say that? Well, because when we think about group versus team, group coaching involves individuals in the group and are receiving coaching. Individuals do not have a common objective to achieve, and individuals of the group have different goals for their development and learning. Whereas a team, there's a sense of accountability to each other because when we are players in the team, we're not running the race for ourselves. We're not fighting the fight for ourselves. We're fighting for the brother beside me, the sister beside me. We're moving together as one. So the entire team includes the leader, each one of the direct reports. The entire team receives coaching as a whole. And the team has a common objective to achieve and collective goal for the team's development and learning, the co-creation of a greater value together as one. So you see team having that requisite powers because they're coming together as one, not as individual silos, but finding strength together as one. Let me share with you guys a story of the chopsticks. How many of you know what chopsticks are? Do you know what chopsticks are? Okay, yeah. Sometimes I must ask because in certain cultures we have never seen the chopsticks before. Okay, so a chopstick is a little steak where you eat with where to pick it up. So there's a story that goes like this. If you take a piece of chopstick, a wooden chopsticks, it's easy to break. You just break it like this. But when you put a stack of chopsticks together, try breaking it. It's going to be really hard. Why so? Because that is the difference between a team and a group. All right. When a team comes together, a unified whole, strengths increase not linearly but exponentially. When you want to see exponential growth in your productivity, exponential growth in engagement, exponential growth in retention, we need to focus on the team than the group. So think about this. Why is it so important in team coaching? Because when we can coach the team, now as an individual in the team, I may be down, I may be dejected, I may be feeling stressed, I may be stressed out, I may feel like I want to quit, I want to give up, I want to give in, I want to quit the fight. But when I see my teams moving on, I'm encouraged by my team members on my left and right. Billie English, one of the British band, I have this song, When I See You Smile. So I don't want to give up, I don't give in, I don't want to quit the fight, right? And all they need to focus on is just the one thing. To my left and to my right, my friends are there to support me. Even though I'm going through perilous times, even though I'm going through turbulent time, but I'm not going through alone. I'm going through my teams. I'm in the hustle, I'm in the mud with my teams. Okay, so when we think about this, one of the important things for us to think about as well is which represents group coaching and which represents team coaching. So let me show you a diagram. So it's going to help you gain a better clarity about it. Okay, so here, let's show you two pictures here. Which one of this picture is a group coaching? Which one of them is a team coaching? Which one's a group coaching? Which one's a team coaching? Is it the one on the left or the one on the right? You can post the one below. left or right? Okay. Right. So all of you are right. Okay. Yeah, that's why it's the right. Yep. So the team coaching is on the right and the group coaching is on the left. And why so? Because you may see the interactions. There's greater synergy in team coaching than there is in group. There's greater synergy in team coaching than there is in group. Now, to add a little more complexity is this. Some people have asked me, say, hey, is there a difference then between team coaching and team facilitation? Well, there is. There's another nuance here. What about team facilitation? Well, in team coaching, the team co-creates and designs together the processes, whereas in team facilitation, the designing and facilitation of the process has been decided for the team or for the situation. In team coaching, the team coach and the team members learn to develop together collectively as a team, holding one another accountable for the process and the outcome. Whereas in team facilitation, the team facilitator is responsible for the process, but not necessarily the outcome. Now, that's team coaching. But let's add a little twist to it, because team coaching sounds nice and fanciful when we can meet up with each other live and physically. But when we add the whole new dimensionality of the virtual space, team coaching becomes even more complex than ever before. Because with virtual teams, now with the new norms of virtual teams, our engagement as coaches to the virtual teams is changing. It's a game changer. And which is why the team coaching has even greater power now with virtual teams. So think about this. The new normal today will all be virtual teams. There will be increasingly more and more virtual teams, although there will still be meetups, live meetups, but we will never be sure when a new pandemic might rise or when a new situation or new global catastrophe may happen. But one thing is for certain, right? The virtual space is not going to go away. We saw the usage of Zoom increasingly, had we done this live in person, we would all be meeting in one of the countries here around the world. But with this virtual space, now we can interact with people from different parts of the world, having cross sharings, having cross cultural sharings as well. So virtual team coaching is this space of growing fast due to globalization, increasing need for virtual teams, and increasing the need to master virtual leadership and meeting and learnings. One of the interesting things about virtual teams is this: virtual team leadership is about keeping everyone focused, informed, and in touch as old structures, including the old hierarchies, crumble, right? So what's really interesting about this is this: when we think about teams, especially for virtual teams, it begins to also crumble down because the more virtual we are, the less we have of physical presence with each other. No wonder teams are not so engaged when they are in the virtual space, because they don't see each other physically. We don't have a physical presence and manifestation. And one of the things that happens is this, that teams may experience dysfunctionality. So let me share with you something that happens in the process, okay? With the increasing of virtual teams, there's an increase in absence of trust. Because can you imagine if I'm the leader and I cannot see you from the other side, and I tell you, I give you a task to do, I'm not sure after the call, will you be sleeping? Will you be eating? Or will you be doing your work? I'm not sure will you be really focusing on your work, because there's a sense of mistrust. And on the employee side, the employee might be thinking, will my boss think of me like this? Just because I never email every single moment, does it mean that I'm not at my desk? That's not true. So there's a sense of absence of trust. Next is the fear of conflict. A fear of conflict, because with the virtual teams, you're afraid more about the sense of conflict with each other. So the more that happens, there's an increase of lack of commitment. The more lack of commitment, there's an avoidance of accountability. The more avoidance of accountability, there's an inattention to results that produces a drop in productivity and drop in performance altogether. And this is like it's like a spiral down, right? It's a spiral chain down. So it's like a chain reaction. So the more absence of trust, increasing fear of conflict, increasing lack of commitment, increasing avoidance of accountability, increasing inattention to results, and therefore your entire performance drop. So what must happen in the virtual team is this: that we want to make sure that all voices are heard equally. Everybody is given a space to express themselves, especially those who are quiet or introverted. Because sometimes in virtual teams, the quiet person now has the same screen time as the extroverted, because all of you share the same screen. Like in the Zoom setting, like right now, all of us have the same real estate space on the screen is the same, right? It doesn't mean that I'm a leader, I have a bigger space. No, everyone has the same space. But in the virtual team, we want to make sure that voices are heard. And that's the beauty of virtual team coaching, is that you can draw out the voices from each other. You can draw out the hidden creativity of an individual, the hidden wisdom of individuals as well. And you're able to start meetings with daily check-in and end off your days with checkouts. Applying coaching competencies in the virtual team settings as well, where you can apply for each individual, for each smaller groups, and finding alignment and coherence in whatever we're doing. So increasingly in the virtual teams, an increase in engagement must exist, an increase in communication must exist, because communication breakdown will increase even much more with virtual teams, because I'm assuming you're doing this, you're assuming I'm doing that. That's why there's a lot of mismatch in this and confusion. So really, virtual teams can be difficult to get right, but it's for every single individual to have flexibility, having lots of patience, and changing according to the team situation as well. So therefore, one of the things that we say is this: we want to be able to create and enhance flexibility, to be like water. Embracing flexibility and be like water. This notion of fluidity, this notion of flow state, in a book, Flow, by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he says that flow is the state where there's this effortless action, where almost as if we know exactly what we're going for. It almost feels that, oh, I know what's the next step forward. There isn't a hurdle, there isn't a burden before us. So therefore, as teams, one must become more like water, more flexible, and in doing so, to be like water it's the art of being a leader in the face of crisis, because the water has the potential to both be a source of harm and also a source of help. So think about this. If you think about water, right? Water, if you freeze water, it can form a very dangerous object. It can cause harm. But water can also have healing properties as well. It can heal an individual heart. It can heal an individual soul as well. Water can be both a source of good and also a negative as well. So in the process of flowing, the leader or the coach must figure a way to move the team together as one, not as individuals, but move together as one, and to find a common purpose and find a common understanding and hold each other accountable for and towards the progress that they want to achieve. Okay, now good. Any questions here so far?
Yep, I have one.
Yes.
You just have shared the pyramid where there is different reasons of dysfunctions of a team.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one on the bottoms were the absence of trust. Are there any techniques or recommendation on how we can deal when there is a lack of trust when it's come of team coaching?
Yep. Okay, that's a really good question by Doha. So what to do when there's absence of trust? The first thing you want to do to create more trust is this one notion called commonality. Commonality. The greater the level of commonality, the greater level of trust. For example, when it's mistrust that seeps in, which means that I'm perceiving something of you and you're perceiving something of me that may be true or may not be true. It may be extrapolation, it may be perception. So what I must then do in the process is to help the team to find commonalities with each other and say, hey, actually what this person is saying, it's similar to what you were saying, but in a different way. What you were trying to express, what you're trying to achieve, it's similar to what the leader was trying to achieve. It's just that all of you had a different way of expressing it. So as a team coach, now you're helping them to see, hey, actually what you were saying, they're not different things, but they are the same of the different sides. Think about this story. There was a story of 7 blind guys. They were touching an object. One of them said the object felt like a fan. Another person felt like a rope. Another person felt like, oh, it was something sharp. Another person felt like it was a wall. But actually they were feeling parts of the whole. And that was an elephant. So to each person, they see a part of each, but they don't see the part of the whole. So in the coaching process as well, one of the reasons mistrust seeps in as well, is because everybody is seeing a part of the truth, part of the whole. So in the coaching process is to help them see, hey, actually what you're seeing, it's part of my world. Think about a famous poet. Do you know this famous philosopher by the name of Ariel the mermaid? A part of your world, right? What would I see? Right? And she says that she sang a beautiful song called Part of Your World. If I could have feet instead of fins, if I could this instead of that, If I could have, if I could go on land, but she discovered that, hey, actually, I'm part of the world. Even though I'm in the sea, I can still enjoy the world as it is because they're one part of the world. Yeah. So we can learn a lot of interesting stories like this. Now, what I've just done there is I have used a commonality of language, because in a team settings, sometimes it's not about using complex words. Sometimes it's using simple metaphors that everybody can understand. I think some of my coaches here as well will hear me say this as well. One of my most favorite wisdom of modern times, it's by this wise philosopher. Her name is called Elsa. Have you met Elsa, the philosopher, before? No? I think you probably have met her before. So she says this, right? She says this, the snow glows cold on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling and swirling deep inside. Couldn't keep it in. Heaven knows I cried. Don't let them in. Don't let them see. Be the good girl I'm always meant to be. Conceal, don't feel. Don't let them know. Make one wrong move and everybody will know. Let it go. Let it go. I will be one with the wind and sky. Let it go. They'll never see me cry. Here I stand, my arms wide again. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. That was Elsa the philosopher. Okay, from Frozen. For some of you who are totally lost, Frozen, Disney movie, right? Let it go. So Elsa shared a very interesting team coaching philosophy over there. As the leader, she was secluding herself because she said that, hey, a kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. She felt isolated as the leader of an entire city, right? And she felt isolated. But she realized one thing, she needed to let it go. The more she tried to conceal, the more the fear rises. The more the teams try to conceal, the more fears and mistrust rise. And what was the secret for Elsa? How was she able to break the curse of the ice? Was love. And it was not a man to kiss her, but a true act of love. In the same way, a gentle act of love in the team as well will always reduce stress, will always reduce mistrust. Sometimes my best approach for teams is this. I will always tell the teams, be kind to each and another, right? Love each other, right? When we love someone, we love them unconditionally. It's not conditioned. For example, many people say, oh, I will only love you if you do right to me. I will only love you if you did that correctly for me. But then that's conditioned love. We want to love people despite of whatever they've done. And that is true love. Love, it's unconditional. If love is conditioned, then it's never love. In the same way as a coach, I love my teams because how can I love them unconditionally? How can I give them to my best positive regard? One of the secrets is this, what I call UPR, unconditional positive regard. Unconditional positive regard. To always hold your clients with the greatest sense of unconditional positive regard in whatever they do, right? When we want to resolve a trust issue them an unconditional positive regard. Love them the best way anybody can love them, and give them a sense of security. At the end of the day, teams, leaders, all of them need love at one time. You see, the greatest songs on planet Earth are all love songs, right? The greatest gift is love.
Yeah, thank you, JJ. It's very interesting what you have shared it, and for sure, this is inspiring on how I can deal with some stuff like this, especially when it's come of recommendation.
Yep. Thanks for the question. Johnny's asking me to sing. Well, I'm a voice coach as well, so I teach a lot of singers and songs. Also, in fact, one of the things I love to do for teams is get them to sing. There's some power in singing. Do you know in some cultures, when I work with some cultures, we get the drums out to play with rhythms and songs, and that creates such great synchronity. It's beautiful. When I was in Vietnam one time, the people there got me to get on my guitar and sing with them, and somehow the stress just got lifted off of them. There's also power in music. There's power in songs. When people come together like this as one, sometimes I say as one united people, there's something amazing that happens. Yeah, you can try this out, right? For some of you, get drums, play some drums together, percussion. There's a rhythm that happens. When I was a pilot in the Air Force many years ago, and when we were flying planes as well, there's a rhythm, what we call a tempo. What is the rhythm of grace in the teams today? What is the rhythm of the team today? Sometimes we call it, what's the tempo of the team today? How are they moving as one team? As a coach, I'm sensitive to the tempo of the team. The tempo of the team means how are they moving in terms of the state, in terms of the energy, in terms of the mobility. How are they moving? Okay. Avni is asking me, demo your voice, let it go, please sing for us. Well, if you guys are good, I will sing to you guys. Yeah, so
what do we have to do to be good, Jedi?
what do we, that's a good coaching question. What do we have to do? It's a true.
We are quietly listening, and we're going to clap for you. So go for it.
You can't let Avni down, Jedi. You can't let Avni down.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Wow. See, everybody wants to hear me sing. I feel like I'm in the voice of American's Got Talent. Yeah. Well, one of the songs that I love so much that I hope will encourage you guys is this song called "A Whole New World." When you as a coach, as a team coach, enter in the space of team coaching your people, you're creating a whole new world for them. Oh, it's the same world, but now they're seeing a whole world in a brand new perspective. Do you know the song "A Whole New World"?
Yeah, is it Lion King?
No, that's Aladdin.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes like this. This is just for Avni, right? Because she asked for it.
Thank you. Go for it.
Yeah, so it goes like this, right? You see, right? I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride, a whole new world. With new horizons to pursue, I'm like a shooting star. I've come so far, I can't go back to where I used to be. So that's where we'll never come back to where we used to be. We never had a virtual conference where people sing.
That is so cool.
Right, so you guys got to come back for the 4th episode as well. We stay tuned, and tomorrow we'll be on as well with a panel discussion, and we're going to sing more songs together. Yeah. I wish we were in a live conference. In live conference, we have a band, we can sing together, and it's going to be so amazing. Yeah.
We missed the guitar.
Yes, we're missing. Oh, that's why I have instruments over there. See, yeah, all my instruments over there. Okay, so great. Yeah. Now, I think all of you are just waiting for me to play some of the instruments there. That's the amazing thing about team coaching. The team coaching, you can bring in your creativity, your personality in the team coaching session as well to really inspire. Now, notice this: all of us here are probably meeting each other for the first time. But that one song just lighten up the whole atmosphere, just make us a bit happier. Okay, so it's not another boring lecture, not another boring webinar, but something fun, something interesting. That, hey, and as we were singing the song, I think some of you were singing in your hearts as well. That's going to be amazing. And I want to leave with you with this part here. I think it's going to be amazing to land with this part, because this part is going to be really impactful for all of you who are tuning in today. And I want to leave you with this: the start of a beautiful journey. The start of a beautiful journey. In the team coaching process, the process goes like this. It's up and down. There'll be cycles. There'll be cyclical cycles like this. It starts with listening actively, with non-verbal encouragements, reframing, a change of minds from a feeling of limited to a sense of limitless, from a leader-centric to a team-centric, and using empathetic resonance. Not just empathy, but helping the person realize that, hey, I'm here for you. I want you to know that I'm here and standing in faith with you. I want you to know that I have this unconditional positive regard for you. I want you to know that I'm loving you this process. In the team coaching process, we're bringing the clients through all these different journeys, up and down, up and down. And the great thing about team coaching, the power within team coaching is in this. Number one is that team coaching focuses the team towards the organization goals and aligns individuals' aspirations towards the organizational outcome. So it aligns every single person's aspirations, which means to say that it doesn't matter whether you have your own personal aspiration. When we come together as a team, all your aspirations will align towards the organization goal. And it's important to acknowledge that every single individual in the team have their own goals. Like all of us here, each of us here have a voice, a beautiful voice, a voice that the world needs to hear. And individual voices are respected and heard in the engagement of team, as it engages not just in unidirectional approach, but a multi-directional engagement with members of the organization. And finally, one of the most beautiful things is this, that team coaching allows for increase in engagement and facilitates sharings, and is a catalyst. This is the keyword. It's a catalyst for innovation and providing a safe space for team to develop and form shared progress and accountability, and to achieve increased levels of happiness and job satisfaction. So there you have a beautiful overview of where we can bring forward team coaching is. And I hope this has inspired all of you here. And we have a couple of minutes left. I think I only have 4 minutes left, right? So if anyone have any questions, post them here, or you can unmute yourself and share with us what are some of your thoughts. Okay, this is what we can do, right? Since we only have 4 minutes, I want to hear all our voices here. So we're going to go around here and share with us what is one word that you've caught from today, one word that you've learned from today. What have you learned from today using one word? Okay, just using one word. Think about what's one word that represents how you're feeling about today's session. And we'll go around with everybody so we can hear all your beautiful voices. And whenever you're ready, anyone would like to start?
Harmony.
Harmony.
Goodness.
Goodness. Happiness.
Celebration.
Well,
a great singer.
I'm saying it's a whole new world from all over the country. I mean, all over the place, from everywhere in different time zones. We see different people talking differently, but we are all on the same page. We are here to coach ourselves and to coach the world. It's a new world now.
Okay, very nice. With commonality.
Well, I would like to speak.
Yes.
One of the words I heard that has made an impact on me today is flexibility. Be like a water.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else? We're seeing some messages here as well. We have a common goal, common value, empowered voice, openness.
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
UPR.
UPR. Nice, nice. UPR.
Let it go.
Energy. Let it go. Okay, let it go. I heard let it go. Maybe one of these days I'll do a YouTube cover on let it go. The S. Okay, the S. Okay, the 3 S. Engagement, cohesiveness.
I love the acronym of coach. COICH. Very, very nice. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks so much. Right. Use them to support your coaching practice as well. Acceptance, energy, engagement. Great. Well, it's really been a joy, Symphony. It's really been a joy and an honor and privilege to be able to have this space to share with you guys. And really thank Kaius as well to organize this thing. Him and his team at Excellentia Institute. Really, really honor. And this is Jedi here. I stay connected with me, and I have a YouTube channel as well called Coaching Genius Lives. You can subscribe to that with more videos as well. Really an honor and privilege. And thanks, Kaius, so much for allowing me to share this platform with all of us here tonight.
Thank you, Jedi. Thank you. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really, it was a great convivial session. Very funny, a lot of insights. Really, and as I saw one of the comments, sense of really being surrounded with family members. So it was as if a family here. So really, we're so grateful for that. I'm about to make a deal with you, Jedi. If you trade off, if you talk another thing, I'll leave my session to you. So what do you think?
It's possible. It's possible.
Okay, so thank you, Jedi. Thank you all for being here. So with this, we come to the end of this wonderful session, and I'll be really longing to meet with you in another session. It will be mine. I'll do my best to keep up with what Jedi really did. It really, he really inspired all of us. So I can see a lot of things I'll be talking about shared by Jedi. So I really relate to all what he said. So hope to see you all there. Thank you, Jedi. So all of us, we applaud Jedi's and we make a beautiful picture for Jedi. So as a sign of, as a token of.
Thank you, Jedi.
So let's make this beautiful picture for him.
One moment, let me turn the light on.
Turn the lights, turn the cameras on.
Get ready.
Bow.
Avni, go for it. Thumbs up.
Open the camera.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Let's do it.
Okay.
At 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Wow, amazing. Applause.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, and appreciate everyone here.
Thank you, Jedi, and thank you all, and see you in the next session. You're welcome, Jedi. Bye.
Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We have a panel discussion as well. See you guys.
Yeah, of course. So, bye.